Yes, check 1, 2, ready when you are, fuckers.
Should I do another intro or should I just...
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise.
Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to All Geeked Out, your number one podcast destination for everything that you geek out about. And today, once again, we are in the Movie Misfits studio. We are a sister podcast of the Movie Misfits, and this is part of our podcast network. So we wanted to get kind of build off of a previous episode. We were talking about series and some of our favorite series. So we like we said there, we had there's just so many series, that we've grown to love over the years. I mean, like I said, we're a couple of old bastards.
Yeah.
That's like, I mean, by the time we started like watching TV and that stuff, I mean, it's over 40 years of just everything, So what we try to do, last time we went into like just our favorite overall. I think we're gonna start categorizing because it's just too much. There's too much to not. There's just too much to like get into all at once. We could keep doing like episode after episode and continue it. So I figured let's get into our probably our favorite genre. I mean, we've already said before we're into sci-fi. We love the sci-fi genre. We talked about our favorite sci-fi directors in the past. So let's get into like some of our favorite sci-fi series. And I don't think we're not going to get into any particular order. I mean, Emilio, what do you? I mean, as far as if I asked you right on the spot, favorite sci-fi like series of all time, like what's the first thing that pops into your head? I mean, I'm not going to hold you to it. I'm just saying Star Trek. All right, and I'll say I can vouch for that. I mean, this guy has always been a Star Trek guy.
Star Trek.
I took on the Emilio stance on that, where I was like, Star Trek, but I wouldn't. I shouldn't dismiss it because I understand, why it. Hey, first of all,
at that time in the '60s, of what they were coming through, Gene Roddenberry, who we really haven't mentioned. He was pretty before his time, I would say.
Yeah, and I won't correct you on the name because I know you fucking butchered that. But
Gene
Roddenberry. I think whatever. That doesn't even sound right for some reason, but I think it is right.
So we're in the same ballpark. Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I get that part. First of all, but one thing is you weren't around then, so you picked that up, afterwards, later on, in syndication when Star Trek was in syndication, and I did too. I mean, I watched it. I don't know what it was. I can remember certain episodes. Everybody remembers the the lizard guy episode where he was chasing. I remember that one. I remember one with. I remember one. I don't know if so. I mean, are you like one of those that like remembers all the episodes?
I remember most of them.
There was one where you were on one planet.
Where the woman was in a cage with him, or was in I forgot the name of the episode. I'll come up with it though in a second.
All right. So do you remember this one? Right? This one always stuck with me for some reason. It was they were on a planet, and everybody had like some kind of disease. Like they had like these lesions on their faces or something. Do you remember that one? For some reason, that one always stuck with me. I don't know why, but it was like some kind of like disease or something that was happening on that planet. And I remember being like really, I don't know, that one like kind of creeped me out for some reason.
I believe it was from plants. Or I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. But like I said, I was never like I don't know. I never got wrapped up in Star Wars, which is surprising to me because
Star Trek.
Star Trek. I'm sorry, because I was the Star Wars guy. That
Yes,
was the
you
thing.
were.
And why did Star Wars? Why was it always like a battle between Star Wars and Star Trek? Like people, you were Trekkies or you were Star Wars guys. Like I don't know why that ever happened.
There was a big difference between the two.
Well, Star Trek was kind of like more real. Like I don't want to say
Realistic,
realistic,
yeah, it
but
was.
they put a little more science into it.
That's
like
what it would really basically be.
Yeah.
I mean, as scientists, right? I mean,
Well, I mean, yeah. Like if you were thinking about how things would be in the future, like Star Trek would be the way. Like Star Wars was like more of like a sci-fi fantasy. Like it was just like a fantasy epic.
wars.
Of,
I mean, it was just a war of it was wars.
yeah,
I mean,
but there was just like there was no like like
no plot of why
you
it was happening.
Why like why the technology was what it was. Like you just
Right.
had a laser gun like a and you just shot a beat. Like there wasn't no like with Star Trek it was like there was like all these intricacies. Like you could set it to stun. You could have it. Like, no, it's serious though. Like they tried to put a little bit of science into it, even though
It was more realistic.
and at the time,
right?
you know,
in the 60s,
So-
mid-60s,
yeah.
1963, 64, around that area, whatever it was.
yeah, and
When it first came out.
so. And
I think.
I've grown to appreciate it. I still won't sit and watch like episodes. I don't know why. I don't know. But anyway, that's like always been like so that's your go-to.
Yes.
Like for me, like a sci-fi series. If you ask me like what's my best of all time, I mean I would go with something like newer because I just don't like the maybe it's the special effects. I don't know. Maybe it's like I think like the best series to this point that I have seen, and it's kind of like it's a unsung series, but it's kind of growing in popularity. The Expanse. I love what The Expanse does. Like as far as just like you can look at The Expanse and say like, all right, in 50 years. This could actually happen.
Right.
Like we expand from the Earth. We start to colonize the solar system, and it's not like they went
It will
crazy
happen
with it.
at one point.
Yeah, they didn't go crazy with it. They kept it
has
between the asteroid belt and Mars and Earth, and like that's as far as we've gotten at that point. And you could actually see that happening. And then this is like generations after we actually colonize those areas, and the whole class system, like the people from the asteroid belt, the belters as they call them, and they got like they're kind of like that slangy, and they got that like they're like that blue collar, and they always feel disrespected. And then you got Mars, who like the people that colonized Mars and created this this society on Mars. Like at one point they came from Earth, they were all from Earth, but the Expanse takes place after a point where it's generations past that.
It's not even Earth anymore.
Yeah, you're Martian. You're not
Yeah,
Earth.
right.
You're Martian.
Yeah, exactly.
And Martian is like this. It's almost like you look at like Greek, like ancient Greece, and like where Earth was like Athens and Mars was like Sparta. Like Mars was just all about military and just always gearing up for war. Like all of their like interests was about war because they were always worried about Earth just saying, hey, we're going to take you over. You're no longer a sovereign state. And then the Belters were caught in the middle because they were mining all this technology and all this stuff from the asteroid belt, and it just created this almost. It was like it was reminiscent of Game of Thrones. Like it was almost like these three groups that were just always like kind of fighting for power but trying to keep a peace. And then you had Holden and his crew, which they were just kind of like they had no.
Bearing.
Well, they had like no like affiliation with any of them. They were like but they all had like some history with each of them. But it was just, I don't know. The series was just it was done so well, and it's so like you could go on and on like analyzing episodes. That's what I love about it, and I love the realistic approach of it. And then it got into like obviously it got into some alien technology or whatever it was, where it kind of gets a little like really into science fiction.
Right.
But
Or it has to at one point anyway.
yeah, but the production was great. The acting was really good in it.
Right.
A bunch of unknown actors, except there's a few like Thomas Jane comes up, and he was kind of like that anchor that kind of like told you, all right, well, hey, they gave it some credibility. You know what I mean? But yeah, hey, The Expanse, like that's the one right now that I'm looking at. Like, wow, this is what science fiction should be, like a science fiction series. They got so many like different little storylines that you could build off, and it's got a likable cast. And Amos is the fucking
Amos.
He's the fucking man. You know what I mean? He's a guy that just came out of nowhere, and he just has those deliveries, like all his lines, the way he delivers them. Like you don't know if this guy's gonna kill you or if he's like he love you forever, and he's so straightforward. But he's just like a badass, you know what I mean? And he just added that element, like this little crew that they had, like with him. Like I was crazy about what's her name. The like Aborigine girl that his girlfriend there, not Nina, starts with an N. Fuck, I can't think of her name.
Can't think of it either.
Yeah, the pilot, the Martian pilot there, who's kind of cool. He's like a Middle Eastern kind of guy. Like he's I can't think of the names. I can't believe I can't think of the names right now. But
a little bit of stump myself.
Yeah. It's one of those things that you can watch. You gotta keep watching it, watch it again. But yeah, I mean, right now.
You told me about The Expanse. I watched it about a year ago. I started watching. Yeah.
You know, and then right now, Star Wars is kind of back on the forefront. Thanks to Disney Plus, and you got your Mandalorian and the Boba Fett series.
Excellent. Both of them, I think.
They are really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Some of the purists might say the Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Like he's just all of a sudden now he's like a sympathetic character, whereas from you didn't get too many.
They really never really plunged into Boba Fett.
No. But it was almost that was what was likable about. That was what. So
you could basically do whatever you wanted with them.
Right.
So
he looked like a badass, you know what I mean? Like he had that badass armor. And I like the fact that they put a whole history to the armor and the whole Mandalorians and all that stuff. And then you find out that Boba Fett wasn't even a Mandalorian. He was just somebody that scored some armor.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean I like that part. And I'm not saying I don't like the Boba Fett series. I do like it. I just think that they just made him too I don't know. I don't know what I like what they did with Mandalorian more than what they did with Boba Fett. And I like how they combined the two. But Mandalorian was like what you hoped Boba Fett was.
So after Mandalorian, you thought that Boba Fett would fall along the same lines.
Kind of, yeah.
I'm kind of glad it didn't. I thought Boba Fett was good. I mean, what did you expect? I mean, what did anybody expect? Not just you personally.
No, I get it.
You know what I mean? What did anybody expect? I mean, he was a bounty hunter. I mean, he did what he had to do. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, how can you?
Not saying I didn't like it. Not saying I don't.
Not
like
you.
Boba Fett.
I'm just saying.
No, but
in general.
But
because there were a lot of disputes about this show.
Yeah, and first of all, I don't know. Like I said, I think the Mandalorian, the character, Mando, he was what you were hoping for in Boba Fett.
Right.
So they gave you both. Like, they kind of gave you two different... So, it's almost like Mandalorian was the build-up to the Boba Fett series. It was like, all right, so this is what you want Boba Fett to be, but this ain't Boba Fett. Then they showed you Boba Fett, and they introduced him in the Mandalorian series, which is cool. And he turned out to be kind of like this guy that's... just kind of on some almost like a spiritual mission. Like he just had he wanted. First of all, he wanted his armor back, and second of all, he just had nothing to do with this whole the Mandalorian thing was almost like a religion. It was what's the fucking saying? That's what the hell?
This is the way.
This is the way.
That is the way. Yeah,
right.
This is the way.
This is the way.
You know what I mean? I love that. I love that whole thing of it, and the fact that you find out hey, Boba Fett has nothing to do with all this shit. It's kind of cool. Right. And I mean, Boba Fett, the series, they bring so many of these characters back. I mean, they talk about Bib Fortuna, and you got the Hutts come back and do all that shit. So I mean, I am not complaining at all about either of these series. I think, and Jon Favreau, who fucking knew this fucking Mikey that blew up on the answering machine for Nikki. Mike.
Yeah, it's Mike.
Yeah. You know, I think this is gonna work.
It's gonna work out.
You know, expectations and I mean, who knew that guy would eventually become like, you know,
Don't ever
the guy
call me again.
Nicky, you were listening all this time? Yeah. So, you know, I mean, it's just, you know, who knew this was going to come? He kind of got his feet wet with the Marvels. You know what I mean? He got into the Marvel stuff, and then now with this, I think he's just he's found his calling, and I just hope he keeps doing Star Wars, you know, universe type stuff. You know,
Actually, I thought he did a good job in The Sopranos too. Actually, he had an episode with Sopranos. John Favreau was great. I mean, you remember it?
He was in it.
Yeah. He
I don't
played
remember
a good part. It was good. It was good. It's why you're gonna watch Sopranos again.
Yeah, I guess. I know I do. There's just so many things on my list. I just can't. You know. But anyway, so that would be, you know, Mandalorian. You know, that's probably like the newest as far as like new sci-fi. That's probably tops of the list. You know, Mandalorian, the Boba Fett, the merging of the two, and that all getting, you know, kind of rounded out. So I don't know. I mean. Looking back and kind of going back in reverse chronological on it, like the years they were released. The next thing, like going back in history, that had me excited, Project Blue Book.
Project Blue Book.
And I don't know if you call this. I mean, definitely sci-fi. I mean, it's definitely like an X-Files kind of type show. But I love the fact that they base it in real, like, reports of you know, like whether it's extraterrestrial activity or just like kind of unexplained activity.
Every episode was
yeah, but it wasn't always about aliens. Sometimes it was about like something in the woods, or you know what I mean, like the I don't know, was it the Mothman? Did they do the Moth? It was some kind of owl thing. Like there was always like something, and those two dudes play those parts. Like
Shane never came up with another series.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought they were going to do another season.
No.
Really?
No, I'm on a Blue Book on Facebook, and they just said it keeps on. They just can't do it. They can't do it. They won't do it. They won't do it. I don't know why.
That's surprising, man. That was such a good show.
Yeah.
That was a really, really good show. Well made.
And I do remember them saying they were going to come out with another one. I think it was false, though. They even said it was just all bull crap. So.
Well, maybe that's
who knows?
Some kind of like publicity stunt.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like you know, false.
I think it should be because the show was really good. It really was. It really was. Yeah. And you had a lot of following too. You really did.
So then, all right.
A big fan base of Project Blue Book.
I think so. Well, that's the thing. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe not in time. Like I think it grew gradually. Like I think a lot of people weren't in on it so quick.
Right.
Maybe I don't know. Like it didn't get a lot of like publicity. You didn't hear a lot of buzz about it. But little by little, it got bigger and bigger. But I mean,
how many seasons in general? 2, I think.
I think it was 2. Yeah, I think I had 2. Yeah. But there's a lot of series like that just didn't get a chance. You know what I mean? One of my favorites all time, and you know, this is going back a ways, but I got into it after the fact. It was a Fox series, and they didn't give it a chance. And I love the fact that this is one of the ones that got outcry from the fans. Like the fans made such a fuss that they actually funded a movie just to like kind of button it up. And I'm talking about Firefly. And I don't know, you've probably never seen it. It doesn't seem like it'd be something that you would check out. But it was just something different. It had like a good mix of comedy, it had a good cast. It wasn't, people weren't ready for it. People didn't know what to expect from it. I think it didn't really catch on. They did it for one season and then they canceled it.
Wasn't there a movie?
And they came out with a movie after Serenity, which kind of like just tried to like button it all up. You know what I mean? And that was the only reason they did that was because so many people complained that they took it off the air. But the people didn't act soon enough. You know, they didn't, because it didn't catch on right away. You know, first of all, a lot of people probably like me. I don't watch network. Like I don't watch
Me
channel,
neither.
CBS,
Mainstream
ABC,
TV, I'm all set.
NBC.
It's
Yeah,
terrible.
if I watch, I think the last show that I watched that was Netflix. I remember Netflix.
24
Network,
maybe?
24. I was just gonna say that.
Maybe 24, yeah,
That was
maybe
the
the
last
last
thing I
one, yeah.
watched,
Yeah.
and I've given a couple things a shot, and I was like,
Terrible.
nah.
God,
It's all
terrible.
formula. It's
Oh,
formula.
God.
It's so like politically correct,
Ugh.
and they're so afraid to make a mistake that's
Oh
going
my
to offend
God.
somebody.
Exactly.
It's like I can't deal
So
with
bad. It really is.
And not that
So
I'm.
bad.
Well, actually, I've said before, I don't care about offending people. I think people are get offended too easily nowadays. I think you should be able to like just laugh at things, and obviously
Or hate
some things are
like you
sensitive.
should be able to, and not be castrized for. I mean, it's terrible.
Yeah, right. It's like I don't know. It's just like
People should have opinions. It's
and the networks are still kind of stuck in the past. I think like they don't. I haven't watched like 24. 24 was the last one that I watched.
What was that?
And that
10
was,
years ago, maybe.
jeez, I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, what a great show!
Excellent.
Fucking 24.
Great show.
That's Jack Bauer
You
is
could just go
one of
into
the
a
best
whole new
characters
episode
ever.
with that. Whole episode with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so no, actually, you know what? Fringe was a network show, and I watched it, and I think that was after 24. And, did you watch Fringe?
No.
I'll tell you what, that is a fucking really good show. Fringe, it's kind of like it starts off on like an X-Files thing, like where it's like this government, the branch of the government, that investigates these, unexplainable phenomenons, and then it kind of gets into a whole nother like seasons later. But the cast was awesome. Like the girl Anna Torv, who plays the main character, the girl Olivia, she was great. And then it has John Noble, who played Denethor from Return from the Lord of the Rings. He was Boromir and Faramir's father, the guy, the steward of Gondor,
Right.
and he was great. He played kind of like he's kind of like a drug-addled hippie from back in the day, but he's a scientist and he's smart, but he's really is like whacked out. And that was a great series. That's something you should check out. It's all Fringe. Yeah.
What is that?
If you like the X-Files, I mean,
Yeah,
were you an
I
X-Files
did.
fan?
I was an X-Files fan.
I mean, that's going to be up there in the best science
Yeah.
fiction series of all time,
Definitely.
Especially for the time it came out. That was.
And they were off topics too on certain episodes.
There we go. Yeah. Like there we go. Like, I think my most memorable episode was the one with the family, like that the mother was like under the bed and they used to roll her out and like with the incest. Like, do you remember that? They were like mutants. Like they were like all inbred. It was a real creepy, but it had nothing to do with like aliens or anything like that. It was just like every once in a while they have one of those episodes, and it was like really like
Creepy.
Yeah. And that was kind of like groundbreaking. Like they didn't really have that kind of shit on TV.
Nope.
Back then. So X-Files, that was one of them. Well, all right, maybe they did, but you had to go to PBS to watch it, and you're talking about Doctor Who.
Great.
Great
show.
The original. Well, actually, it wasn't even the original, but the one that we grew up with, the dude with the afro, Tom.
The best.
I forget
English
the
dude.
Tom. It was Tom something. Do you remember Tom? Fuck, I can't remember his name. But I think he had the scarf. And
Yes.
I can't remember. Like I couldn't. If you asked me to remember an episode, I couldn't. But it was so long ago. But it was just, and I was so young watching it. I just remember the theme song, the TARDIS.
Like I said before, from Pink Floyd.
The theme song. Yeah. One of these days.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
TARDIS.
Yes.
What was that guy's name? It was Tom something. Tom like Savage or that Tom. Emilio's looking it up right now,
I am.
as he always does. Well, sometimes you save me. What am I gonna do? But yeah, Doctor Who. That was like one of the originals, and then you can go back. You had from between Star Trek and the X Files. I mean, you had. I don't know if everybody remembers Space 1999. I remember that show.
Very
Do you
vague.
remember that one? No, really? Yeah, you were young. This is like, it was like in between Star Trek and Star Wars. Like I believe it. They stopped airing it like in '76, Really, it was a cool show. Martin Landau, I think, was the one of the lead actors in it, and yeah, it was just it was a really kind of like they got into. I think the premise was like there was an explosion that sent the moon out of orbit, and I think Earth exploded. Maybe I don't even remember. I don't remember the premise of it. I just remember it being like kind of like visually, it was pretty cool. You didn't find the guy's name?
Yeah, I can't. It's just there's a ton of them. I mean,
right, buddy. So all right.
Yeah, I found a ton of names. Good, keep going.
So yeah, I mean, so what else you got for sci-fi? I mean, no, that was it. It was Tom something. Tom.
Tom Baker.
Baker. There you go.
That
was the guy. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and then it went into a little hiatus for a while. Then all of a sudden, Doctor Who became this like big phenomenon again.
Tom Baker. That was the guy.
Yeah.
That was the one.
Yeah, he was cute. He was cute.
He was cute too. Yeah.
So you had Lost in Space, the remake of that, you know.
Oh, great show.
So
on
yeah,
Netflix.
and then I even remember the original series, Lost in Space, like with the robot, Robbie the robot and stuff.
68.
Yeah.
68 cans of oil or something. I don't know. That's something.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, man.
Okay.
It had something to do with that.
Is that like a robot version of
No, wait a minute.
bottles of beer on the wall?
Listen, it had something to do with that. I know I did. I'll look. I'll find it.
Don't hurt yourself, buddy. So we had Lost in Space, and they did the remake, and it was it started out like I really liked it. Like I liked the robot was fucking great.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Robot.
Yeah. And,
so oil shit.
That's what we're afraid of.
But they did a pretty good job with that. And then a couple other ones that I can think of is Westworld from HBO. Yeah, well, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it lost its way a little bit. I think in like after the first season. Obviously this is based off of a story that there was a movie made like I think it was like the '60s, maybe early '70s. With Yul Brynner. It's a pretty good concept. I mean, about this theme park that you can go to where there's robots and they look human. They play a human part. You can feel like you're in that time era. You know what I mean? And it was a really good concept. It just, I feel like it didn't. I think they just lost their way, kind of. Like they just ran out of material, and it was like, all right, so what do we do next? And then we'll make these things kind of freak out, and then some of them, the AI, like some of them kind of become, they start to think, and they want to take over. They want to be, and it just, I don't know. I think it just got out of control. Like I think it just ran out of shit. But it was really good. The first season was awesome. So I mean that was the other one. Then I don't know if you saw that show on Netflix, Altered Carbon.
No, I didn't.
Really? That was a good one too.
There's two series on that. Two
seasons. Yeah. Really good. The first one was with the guy from The Killing.
He was in RoboCop too. He did the new RoboCop that came out in 2014. That was a good movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught that one. I don't know. And my someone told me about that, and I shunned it off, and I finally ended up catching it on TBS or something. It was the RoboCop, and the newly made.
Oh, they remade
really
it.
good.
They remade that?
Yeah, they did. Good movie. Excellent movie. If you got a chance, check that out. Yeah.
Yeah, but this guy, I can't remember. I know his name. I can't think of it. He's a Swedish, I think it was like a Swedish name. He was in a good show that was on AMC called The Killing. But yeah, he did the first season, and then the second season wasn't it Anthony Mackie? Wasn't it the guy from the Falcon?
Yes.
He did that one, right?
Yes.
So they got into some pretty sci-fi stuff, like pretty wacky shit. It was a good show.
It was about time travel too, basically, wasn't it?
Was it
I mean,
time
well,
travel?
not really. They froze him
I
for
thought it was about, like
200
like
years or whatever it was to change.
yeah. I have to
They
watch it
woke him
again.
back
It was
up.
a,
Yeah,
it was a while ago.
I
Yeah.
mean, I went around it a little bit, but I really didn't get into it.
Another thing I just started checking out, and we were talking about like anthology type shit before,
Yeah.
short stories or anything. Yeah, have you seen any of the Dust on YouTube?
No.
It's basically like it's a series, but it's like all these like standalone like little shorts. They range in time from like 5 minutes to like 15 minutes. 20
Yeah,
minutes.
I don't like that shit. I don't know why I don't like it.
Some of them, I check them out. Some of them were all right. Some of them were like really
HBO's
bad.
big on that. They got,
Well,
they got a
they
couple
do
of
that.
those, yeah,
Did you see
14,
that one?
17 minutes.
You see the
8
one
minutes.
about the dude that went to prison? The prison. Please stand by or something like that.
Actually, would have been a pretty good movie if they kept it going for like an hour.
You know what I'm talking about.
I think I do.
The one where he goes to prison. The whole prison's like automated. Like he gets arrested by a drone. It makes him go to prison, and then everything is automated. Like you know what I'm talking about. It was like a Mexican kid. Like it looked like it happened in it was like in Mexico, but it was
the name of it too.
I think it was that was it. I think it was like please stand by or please something like that. It was alright. I mean, like you said, like I wish they expanded on it.
Make a movie out of it.
But-
I mean, well, you know what I mean? That's
Like the lawyer, like he was trying to get the
playing with
lawyer.
you. They're playing with you.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, it was
Yeah,
pretty
see,
cool.
I might like that short stuff like that.
It was on HBO Max. I think
Dust,
it's called
huh?
Dust. Yeah, Dust is like it's just
I
all
do- I
standalone
vaguely
episodes.
remember it. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's just a YouTube like it's a series of so many shows. I just kind of got turned on to it, and some of them aren't that good, but a couple of them were all right. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I wanted to kind of
Can we touch on the Incredible Hulk?
Sure. I mean, yeah, I've had this
70s
argument
big-
before. It's superhero stuff,
I mean,
science fiction. If any of them are, the Hulk is one of them. I mean, the Hulk is all about science, and he
Dr. David Banner.
he shot himself with gamma rays, and became this other
Incredible Hulk.
thing.
I mean, if anything was going to happen, I mean, legitimately, that could happen.
It could.
I mean, you know what I
I
mean?
believe that. Yeah,
They made it believable.
yeah. And then,
Where Bill Bixby took it to another level, I thought that show was excellent. I really did.
yeah, it was.
good
It
show.
was. That
And
that was
I
at a
consider
time.
that science fiction.
Good. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna compare it to other like superhero stories, like this one probably the more than any of them. That maybe maybe Iron Man. Like there's a few of them that kind of stand out as like probably science fiction. You know what I mean? Like some of them are just people with these superhuman abilities that just they were born with or whatever. But a lot of them are scientifically like. There was some experiment, or even Captain America. I mean, that was a science experiment.
It was.
You know what I mean? That made him what it was.
Right.
Iron Man, Tony Stark was he just millionaire who had a R&D department that just developed all this shit, and it got into the realm of science fiction. I mean, fucking Guardians of the Galaxy. That's science fiction. You know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of. But then there's a line you could draw where some of it isn't, like, is Spider-Man science fiction? Is that? Maybe. I mean, radioactive spider causes this stuff. It could be.
Now you're going back into the Marvel shit.
Thor.
You know what I mean?
Thor.
Go back to, yeah, there you go.
It's Thor science fiction. That's more mythology. That's like fantasy. I mean, so there's a lot of within the Marvel universe. There's a lot of different categories that you can categorize some of the stuff in. Is Daredevil? Is that science fiction? I mean, I don't know. He's definitely got some kind of crazy abilities, but
Right.
they were. I guess it was chemically induced, basically,
Just
the
like-
chemicals that caused him to be blind, gave him all these other powers.
Right.
And Emilio's just kind of.
My bad, guys. That's my phone. My bad, guys.
Yeah. Right. So is that science fiction? Emilio just
Fucking around with
touching his phone. Hey, 30 years ago that was. Now, it's just something you can explain by just being a fucking
Idiot.
jerk. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This, like I said, this is trying to get this stuff.
We keep going. I want to say Buck Rogers. When I was a kid, I used to love Buck Rogers. I really did.
Yeah,
I mean, it was bitty, and Mario threw that out there too. Twiggy.
Hey, that was something. And
Son, that was out there, and I loved it. I really did.
At that same time, during that same time, you had Battlestar Galactica.
I was just about to say that too. Good boy.
You had the original, and then you had
great.
The remake. You know, the remake was a lot of that's gone. That's generated a bigger fan base than the original.
Right.
Believe it or not, you know. And I've watched it. I like it. I think it's good. It's not to the level that maybe like a lot of people put this as like the top, maybe like the top 3 science fiction series of all time, like the new Battlestar Galactica.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's good. I like the the science behind it. You know, and to me, that's something that you're always gonna have. You're always gonna have like science behind the fiction is important, and this has it. I like the fact that in the old series, I remember the Cylons were just kind of like anonymous, like these just robot things with the Knight Rider fucking light going across their eyes. Right. You know. This kind of gets into more like they're all like kind of anybody could be a Cylon, you know what I mean? Like they mimic humans,
right?
And it's more of a I don't know. It's a little deeper. The new series. Have you ever watched it? You ever give it?
I was a big original series guy. Battlestar.
The new one's good. It's worth a watch. I mean, it'll grab you right away. Right off the first episode, you see what's going on, and it's like, holy shit. So yeah, that's another one.
How about Stranger Things? A little more recent.
All right, so that's another one, and I think that one. I think it might overstay its welcome. I think it's
big kick. You know what? Honestly, reminds me of the Goonies. I don't know why. I mean,
yeah, a little bit.
It's just
got a little bit of that, a little bit of E.T., a little bit of that nostalgia. That
so you think it's overstayed its welcome?
Well, I mean, how long can you keep these kids fucking cute and adorable? I mean, probably already, you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
it's like South Park. It's like 20-something seasons. They're still third graders, fourth graders.
Yeah, but at least with South Park, you can still keep drawing them the same way. Oh,
That's true.
But with this, it's like these kids are getting, So I don't know. Great first season, second season maybe. Yeah. Third season, all right. Yeah, they're doing another one now. It's like, So unless they figure out a way to do it that's believable, I'm good. I'm good with it.
Can I bring another one?
You can bring whatever you want.
Jackal Wait.
All right,
I thought Jackal
that's...
Wait was a great scientific. I mean,
it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's awesome. But science fiction?
I think so.
I don't know. This is more horror. You're getting into like monster stuff. I don't really consider that sci-fi. And hey, this is based on a science Stephen King short story.
Great show, dude.
Yeah. Oh. Adrian Brody did a great job in this.
Oh man.
And it was creepy. It brought a little bit of Salem's Lot to it, And hey, this was
the
based
look of it anyway. Because I was really not a big Salem's Lot guy. We'll get to that.
Yeah, but you are authority.
I am going to check.
Never saw it.
Yeah, I mean.
But all right, so we'll give you a little history on this. All right, so Stephen King's second book he ever wrote. The first book he wrote was Carrie. Second book was Salem's Lot. Then a few years later, he released a book of short stories. Okay, and one of the short stories, this was Night Shift, I believe, or Graveyard Shift.
Night Shift was a good movie.
Or Graveyard Shift.
Oh, Graveyard Shift.
With the rats.
Yes. That was all right, I guess.
All right. I can't remember if it was Skeleton Crew or Graveyard Shift. He had those two collections of short stories, but Jerusalem's Lot was kind of a prequel of Salem's Lot. So it kind of gave you an idea of how Salem's Lot became what it was, even though Salem's Lot itself, there's more than the vampire story to Salem's Lot, and that's the thing. The Marston House is the key to Salem's Lot. The Marston House was a haunted house, and there was all kinds of bad shit going on. So Chapel Wheat was a very short story. It was very... they added a lot to that Chapel Wheat.
Right.
But based on a Stephen King story, do I consider Stephen King books Science fiction, some of them. The Bachman books, yeah. You got the Runner Man.
Yeah.
The Long Walk was one. He also did. He's got a couple of them that I would classify, but most of his books is just horror and science fiction are two different things for me, mostly. Unless you're talking about Alien, then you can combine the two. But yeah, I wouldn't call Chapel Weight
Okay.
science fiction myself.
All right.
That's just me.
All right. I mean, we kind of touched on a lot of them.
Yeah. I mean, Sci-Fi.
Oh, you know what? Since you're saying that, how about Tales from the Crypt?
Once again, I think it's a horror. I think
Another
it's
horror.
horror. Yeah, I mean, horror could expand into science fiction. I mean, you do have stuff where remember there was one called Splice. Remember that one?
The movie.
Movie.
Well, that was Adrian Brody too.
Was he there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
There was another one, Pandora.
Pandora was excellent.
Sci-fi.
Yeah,
that was
a great
horror.
movie.
I mean, you could get into that. I mean, I know we're not talking movies, we're talking series, but I'm just giving examples of where science fiction and horror can kind of blend. But I think the one like that, the Tales from the Crypt, I can't remember all the episodes. Like there might have been a couple of sci-fi ones in there, but I think I wouldn't categorize
Late
it as
80s, early 90s.
yeah. But I don't know if I would categorize that as
Okay.
science fiction. In other
I'll
words.
throw another one at you. Lost. That was kind of recent.
Yeah, it was science fiction.
Great series up until maybe 3 or 4th season, and it started getting a lot.
I still don't like even talking about it. To be honest with you,
Started getting
I think
after
they got they fucking hoodwinked me. I would got
They did.
bamboozled on that
They
one.
did,
Yeah,
absolutely.
like they sucked me in like everybody else,
Yeah.
and then
And it was terrible.
and I didn't want to believe it. Like even when I started to see like it was had some holes, I'm like nah, they can't be going here. And then yeah, that one
That's where they went.
That's a soft spot. you
Yeah.
know? That's why I didn't even bring it up. To be honest with you, like I agree.
Figured I would, 'cause
It's definitely science fiction.
Right.
It's definitely got that Twilight Zone fucking feel to it and all
Yep.
that. But yeah, that was tough. That's a tough thing to think about. Really, like I had such high expectations for that, and it just let me down.
All right, saying that, how about the Twilight Zone? Didn't even. That's a.
That's definitely sci-fi, and that's one that
I think that's
creeps
something
into
that may have
horror.
touched on.
I mean, you might be talking top 3 sci-fi
Yeah.
series of all time. You know?
Yeah.
This is the original. This is the one that so many other projects and movies
came
and series
off, just what I was
based
gonna
on
say,
some of this
exactly.
stuff. Yeah, and I still to this day, every New Year's Day, I watch the marathon on Sci-Fi.
Yeah, great. I mean,
I can get my fill like watching like about I'll watch about like 10 episodes, and then I'm good for a year, and I'll go back to it. Every once in a while there'll be one on that I never seen this one.
Right.
But yeah, I mean. It's good, it is what it is. It's a classic. And
Classic.
I think it has to be. You have to take it with that because things are so advanced nowadays, like that. A lot of that stuff, but it's cool to see what they looked at as science fiction and some of the like we were saying before. Like they would say, like 2015 was the future, and all what they thought would
What's
be
gonna
around
happen
then.
is nowhere
And you
near
see,
it.
like and some of the
exactly.
sometimes they do that, and it's pretty cool. And sometimes some of the stuff that they predicted in that came to reality.
Right.
So yeah, Twilight Zone. I mean, that just stands alone.
Yeah,
As
absolutely.
probably that could be a number one. Like nothing.
Oh, like you said,
Nobody could argue with you that
No
was
way.
like the best science fiction series ever.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, for me, it's almost a novelty. You know what I mean? Like I like watching it once in a while just to like. But I'm not watching it and being like glued to the TV.
Right.
I'm just like watching it and like, oh wow, this is just brings you back. But yeah.
All right, I got another one for you.
All right.
Quantum Leap.
So that's one I told you I haven't seen. I never
Okay.
watched it.
I thought that was for a
And
TV show.
I don't know why. I don't know
thought
why.
it was pretty good. I really
Yeah,
did.
everybody says it was good.
That
And-
was
and
his name. What?
What? Oh,
His name,
yeah, the
yeah.
actor there. Yeah.
Scott Balaka, or whatever his name is.
Baluka.
Whatever. He's a good actor. He was in that movie.
Bakula.
Bakula.
Scott Bakula. Yeah. Like I said, that's one.
Another pretty decent.
That was in my
season.
days when I wasn't watching TV, and
A couple good seasons on that too. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the concept is great.
Yeah.
It's time travel,
Yeah.
and you're time traveling into like somebody's body or something, right? Like that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a different person,
Yeah.
right? And he'd look in the mirror, and it was him, and then
Right. Yeah.
great show. Good
Yeah.
show.
Like I said, I just never.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just said that. I never.
All right. So I mean, can we say Walking Dead maybe?
Yeah, see, I
Can we
won't
touch
put
on
that
that, or
in sci-fi. I mean, even though it's like future, it's not future. I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable putting that as a sci-fi.
Right.
It's more horror, but it's not horror. I mean, it started out as kind of horror, but then it got into like more like survival and the deconstruction of society and all that shit. And
Okay. I
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it just got into another whole thing. Like it was almost like a soap opera with zombies around. But yeah, I mean, I think we touched on quite a few.
absolutely.
And like we said, this is just a category of what we had. I mean, this is just like a fraction of some of the good series.
There's tons more that. Even if
I just think sci-fi is something that, when you get into a series, you get a movie that's sci-fi, you get 2 hours to tell a story. You don't have to be so intricate with your story. You don't have to get too in depth. You don't have to explain too much. Just a little bit. When you get a series and you got multiple seasons, especially, but when you have to explain something, like when you have all this time to fill, and you want to be like, you want to have like. You almost gotta have like a I can't think of the name. Like what I'm trying to say is like respect from science fiction fans. Like I said, like dedicated fans. They'll dig into everything that you do, and they'll pick it apart. And if you want to have get that respect from that fan base, you gotta do a good job explaining your number one, your technology, where you're going with the story. It's not just so easy to say science fiction and it's make believe.
Right.
Like science fiction has to have some science behind it. Like you have to make it believable for people to buy into it. In my opinion, anyway. For me, that's what I like.
Absolutely.
That's what I like in the science fiction when they put a little thought into it and this could actually happen in the future. That's what makes a good series, then actually there's a formula to it, because not only that, you have to have a good storyline, you have to have good actors,
right.
You got to have director, and everybody has to be on the same page. Yeah, so
right.
Having a really good sci-fi series, it's difficult, it's not easy, and I'd say I threw some of these out there that maybe didn't normally probably maybe I wouldn't even go out and watch again because but the ones that get it right, and the ones like I said, my top ones, like The Expanse, Fringe was a really good one. Firefly was good in a way. Some of those shows they just really hit all the marks, and you have to do that, and or you get torn apart, especially nowadays with blogs and message boards and everything like that. Right. These people will attack you.
Oh yeah.
So these are some of the ones, science fiction wise. These are some of the ones that I enjoyed the most.
Yeah, me too.
So I don't know.
Touched on a lot of them. We did.
Yeah, and there's a lot more series that we like to go. I think so. I think we'll. I feel good about what we've talked about. I don't think there's too many that we left out. There's probably a few.
There may be.
Like I said, I was talking before about this Dust series I've been kind of checking out on YouTube. It's kind of a web series of all different just standalone episodes. I'm still kind of on the fence about it. I've only seen maybe 4 or 5 episodes, and there's a ton of them.
Really?
Something to check out. It's something. Hey, it's 5
something new, right?
Episodes from 5 to 15 minutes, and you don't have to watch the rest of them. You can just watch these things. Once in a while, you come across a good one. But that's about it. I don't know. Any closing remarks?
Sci-Fi, we touched on all of it basically, and that we want to really touch on. I mean, like I said, there's probably a couple that we didn't touch on that people would be like, "Oh, why didn't you touch on this?" Or why didn't...
Well, that's what the comments are for.
Exactly.
So,
Absolutely.
please go on, check out our Facebook page, All Geeked Out Podcast. Check out on this episode if it's something that you think we should talk about. Leave a comment. Yeah, let us know.
Please.
Also, check out, we got a new webpage up. It's the link's on the Facebook page. Yeah, and hey, really appreciate the producer allowing us to
Yes,
crash the movie Misfits den, and you know, you could also probably catch this episode on YouTube eventually. Unfortunately, you're going to see our ugly mugs on here, and you know, we're not used to being on camera, but
No.
hey, you know, we make the most of it. So appreciate everybody being with us, and as always, keep an eye out, look up to the stars. You may see the next episode of All Geeked
Yes,
Out.
sir.